Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, very interesting topic we are diving into today. First off, let me be the first to welcome everyone back. The DST Podcast with yours truly, JT Smelik. And we went MIA for a little bit. I have a lot of projects I was focusing on, and of course, everything turned upside down for the entire world right in March. He has no leadership qualities, and if you believe that he does, I want you to take one moment. I want you to step back and think about something just to yourself. What has he done by himself? Oh man, it's Kyrie Irving time. Here we go again on the roller coaster where I have to listen to people defend this crazy lunatic. Kyrie has made his transition to the Brooklyn Nets flawlessly, where he is now going to be the leader we all knew he could be.
Welcome to the 17th episode of The Media's Input. I am your host, James A. Paxson. To check out this interview and previous interviews, go to the YouTube channel, James Paxson. Episode 16 was with Michael Pertra, a coworker of mine at WSGW, 790 AM, 100.5 FM. That was a fun interview. And now today, episode 17, we have a very opinionated person. He has no problem sharing his opinions whatsoever. I very much respect this guy. He is a producer over at 910 AM in Detroit. He has his podcast, the DST Podcast, and his YouTube channel, which is the same name as him, Mr. JT Smelik. How are we doing, sir?
Hey, James. Thanks for having me on, man. I love the intro. I'm glad you could pick up that I like to have an opinion. And I'm very excited to be on the podcast or the podcast interview with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on, man. And, you know, I definitely picked up that, like, every sports guy has an opinion. You know, if you follow me on social media, you follow everyone, they have opinions. But when you make YouTube videos about insert player sucks, I'd say you have an opinion.
That's a pretty fair statement, I would say. Well, my whole thing is like, if you ever go over and you look at like Fox Sports and just ESPN in general, I don't like opinions for the sake of having an opinion, but at the same time, if you have an opinion that you consider outlandish, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you stay committed to it. Like, I hate Kyrie Irving, and I'm going to tell you I hate Kyrie Irving until Kyrie proves me wrong.
I mean, it's fair. You know, I definitely can say he's a good basketball player.
He's one of the most talented basketball players I've ever seen, and I used to be a huge fan of him. That's the best part.
What changed? Where the hatred?
So I was a Boston Celtics fan for like the longest time. And then I was like, oh, so he's leaving. He's going to go become a leader. And then like just drama after drama and drama. And then he's talking about, oh, these young guys don't know how to win. I was like, dude, they won without you when you got hurt. Like, you're always injured. Now the Nets have a better record without you. You got the 8th seed as the guy there. Congratulations.
I mean, he's one of those guys where you either love him or you hate him. I mean, my guy is, to be honest, I've never understood the infatuation with Carmelo Anthony. I never have. I've never gotten it.
I never got it either, and that's why I always compare Kyrie to Carmelo. Like elite scorer, elite basketball player, doesn't do anything to win. Like, just I think he has a bad attitude often. He wants to be more than what he is, and that's why I'm happy he's on the Rockets, or not the Rockets, the Trailblazers, but he found his niche. Like that's where he needs to be. Like, he's not the 1 or 2 guy. He's like the 3 or 4 guy that can light it up.
Yeah, and there's no issues with that. I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with that.
Every great team needs Tayshaun Prince.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. But the biggest issue is always like basketball, especially. It's an ego-driven sport, and he looks in the mirror and he's like, I'm a top 5 player. And so he sat down one day. He's like, I'm not that anymore. So,
yeah, some realistic observations probably good for some guys.
And it's hard because, like, I mean, he was an elite player at one point, and like, you know, Denver Nuggets Carmelo, he was very good. But the thing is, like, it's hard to look in the mirror and just say I don't got it one day.
It is very hard to do that, and some guys, you know, they need to more than others. But yeah. I love the YouTube videos, and I
appreciate that.
Excellent. I hope you keep them coming.
And that's like one thing, like, people, if you go, I have 2 Kyrie sucks videos now, and they often get like a lot of dislikes. And then, like, back when I used to do sneaker videos, I have a Nike released this brand new shoe that they had been hyping up for like 2 years. I bought a pair. I was so excited. I hated them. and I did my brutally honest sneaker review on the Vapor Max. It got like 5,000 views when I was like brand new to doing any of this, and it blew me away. So much anger, but like people are like, oh my God, look at all your dislikes and stuff. I love that stuff. Like I like the fact that like I got you to click on my video and you were so upset with what I said that you had, and like I didn't say anything like that. It was like my real opinion. I'm not saying it just to get like the feedback, but like you were so upset you left a dislike, you commented that I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I love that stuff. Like keep it coming.
Yeah, we're very similar when it comes to that. I definitely have no problem being hated or disliked or.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
No, because here's the whole thing is that I really appreciate is like seeing someone's passion. You know what I mean? Like if I can draw that out of you, I don't want you to like watch something I've created and like sit there with like just your blank expression throughout the whole video and then click off. I want you to either be like applauding, like, yes, I agree, or being like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So as long as I can do that, I feel like I've made something that has impacted someone.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. You got to tell me how this started, man. Where, when you were a kid or in high school, did you decide I got to go into this career? I got to start doing this type of things. You know, talk to me about your educational, professional history, how you got to here.
Okay, so I was 14 at the time, and I had just nothing going for me. I mean, I didn't want to do anything. I realistically didn't have any like post high school plans. And I had just started getting into like major league sports, like somewhat seriously. I listened to 97.1 The Ticket like daily as anyone would with my dad. And I really just, I was going through like a really depressed time in my life. And I had started to appreciate the fact that this is an outlet. And I've always been somewhat good at talking, which I feel like if you're going to enter this industry, like that's just something you kind of have to feel comfortable with in general. And so then me and my buddies were literally walking down to like our parking spots in high school one day, and we were all talking about like our jobs. I was like, yeah, I have no idea what I want to do. And then one of them just said, hey, you know, you like to talk a lot. What about doing like radio or something? Like you'd be pretty decent at that. And I didn't take it seriously at the time. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I could do that. But then I was like, why can't I do that? And so I had just become infatuated with it. Like I was like, oh my God, like I'm not smart by any means. I don't know anything like about just anything at all, but I was like, I can talk, I can use my words, and I can like create a conversation. And so my plan from there was going to be, I guess that's the route I have to take. So I went to Central Michigan for 1 year. I wanted to originally do journalism and broadcasting. I barely got in. I busted my ass my senior year in high school. I took advanced statistics, and I was like, oh, statistics, I love sports, this will work perfectly. No, that was the worst decision I could have made. But I passed with like a B- or a C+ or something. I was very happy about that. But then so I finally go to Central and I start writing. There's a Facebook page that you'll often see, Detroit Sports Nation. I wrote for them for like 4 months, and I really enjoyed my time there. But what made me realize that I didn't want to do journalism was I had a guy, one of the editors. I was like, okay, so I got this Golden Tate piece. I was such a Golden Tate fan. I said, this guy is the key to the Lions winning football games. Like they start out like 0-3. He had under 100 receiving yards, and they rattled off like 3 or 4 wins in a row. And each game he had over 100. I was like, yeah, that like when they get Golden Tate into the game, like they are a better football team in general. And then the guy like comes back to me and he's like, no, this is a stupid piece. Like you don't understand. Like, and so he told me I couldn't publish it. And then I got like a little bent out of shape. I was like, okay, but this is like my literal opinion, and I'm showing you like data to back it up. Two more games go by. They like win one, lose one. And the one game they win, he has like 150 yards receiving. And so they proceed to tell me, okay, now you can publish it. And I'm like, well, now I can publish it just because you think it's okay. And that's when it hit me. I was like, okay, so I don't think journalism's for me, because I don't want someone sitting over my shoulder telling me what I can and can't do. So then there's a school out in Southfield, which probably like there's 2 places you graduate from if you want to be a broadcaster. You either go to Central Michigan or you go to Specs Howard. And so Specs Howard was where I ended up going, met a lot of really awesome people. They put me on the path to where I needed to be. But, as you probably think, Central is also a wonderful option, especially if you're looking for that 4-year degree compared to the 1 year of schooling that I did.
Yeah, there's great options, whichever one you pick, but it's you gotta get it. You gotta get it.
And you know this better than anyone. This industry is about getting lucky. It's not about your actual skill. I mean, it is, but it's about like how you can get people to view your skill. Because I think for the most part, once you've gotten to the point where you and me are at, we all have like the similar skill range. It's all about how you can market yourself to get people to notice you, and then just capitalizing on that opportunity.
Yeah, there's definitely some luck in it, but more often than not, it's connections. It's
exactly.
Who do you know? It's not what you know, what you can do, how you can do it. It's who you know, and those people are going to put you in the right spot. So,
because I mean, you go look at the guys on like ESPN and Fox Sports and all that. Those guys aren't like necessarily. They're very good at what they do. Like Will Kane was like one of my favorites for like a long time, just because he always reminded me of just similar to me. But like the thing is, he was never. I don't view those people as like better than me or anything. I don't think they know that much more other than their age difference. But they busted their asses and they got themselves in the right spot to where they needed to be, and they figured out how to meet with people. And not only that, they were born in a better location than me. Like, I'm born in Michigan. I'm sorry, but hitting the global scene for that is not as not as easy as you would make it out to be.
Where are you at with the Woj stuff right now? And if you don't know, Adrian Wojnarowski, superstar reporter for ESPN, with his ESPN email sent FU, I assume everyone knows what the F word is, to a United States senator in a reply. Where's your opinion with Woj right now? Because he got suspended.
Yeah, so, I mean, the suspension's warranted, I suppose. I mean, you are like a major like news reporter for like ESPN and everything. So I guess it's warranted, but like just watching the outcry of like, first off, I love that man. I think he's awesome. And I wouldn't have sent that email, but like, the world we're currently living in, we have riots, we have everyone voicing their own opinion, we have protests, we have statues being torn down, we have team names being rechanged, and you're telling me it took 2 words to get you suspended in today's age of like just speaking your mind? And not only that, like, yeah, I get if it's like you or me at our job sending it, but this is like the top of the food chain. Like if LeBron sent that, like he's the LeBron James of his industry. Like LeBron's not getting suspended for sending that. So I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, this is dumb, and I stand behind Woj 100%. Like, he can say whatever he wants, in my opinion. He's not just a reporter or anything. I see him as more of his own personality, and I shared something on my Facebook, just saying like free Woj or something, and someone commented, oh, well, he's hard leaning left. I did not know this man's political affiliation until that. And I don't even know if he is a left-winged person at all. And he's like, oh yeah, all the left-wingers want him out. I'm like, no, I like who he is. And I don't think that saying, do you know how many times that like the average person says those 2 words daily? And so now you're telling me, but because it was him, oh, you think it's that bad? What do you say behind closed doors? That's just how I see it.
So you got to rank them 1, 2, 3, JT. Jeff Passan, MLB extraordinaire, Adam Schefter, NFL extraordinaire, and Adrian Wojnarowski.
Adam Schefter's goes 1.
Okay.
Just because that man gets it done. And I also just like his tweets are sometimes really funny too. Woj and then Jeff. And mostly Jeff, because I don't see his reporting as much, just because baseball is a little more fluid. Woj, I do like him a lot, but I do think he tends to skew things into a player's perspective. I think Schefter's just so straight to the point. That's what I like about him personally.
Besides Kyrie Irving, because we've said that enough, who's the most overrated player in the NBA right now, and who's the most underrated?
So So I was looking over everything last night. And I was like, okay, so who do I see as the most underrated player? And there was this one guy. I used to do some. I spent a little bit of time doing. Actually, a little tangent before we do this. I was part of a Instagram page. I had like 50,000 followers. I was so excited. I pitched it, and it was for submitting like reaction videos as like a fan of like your thoughts on what's going on. And so I was so excited. But the admin of the page got so bent out of shape. He was a big Carmelo Anthony fan. He was a big Russell Westbrook fan. He was a huge Cam Newton fan, and he loved the Chargers, the LA Chargers. And when I told him the LA Chargers sucked and Phillip Rivers was overrated, he got so bent out of shape. And the day I did that in our Discord, he never he would never post it that I submitted. So I didn't submit anything for like 3 straight weeks. And then he kicked me out of the group. He's like, you don't post content anymore. I said, I don't post content because you don't post my content, damn it. And so it just blows my mind when people get so bent out of shape about that stuff. But going back to what you said, it's just a guy in that group asked me, he goes, you hate everyone, don't you? And I was like, yeah, well, this year I really hate a lot. I hate 90% of NBA players. I like seriously, yeah, like I was looking at the underrated aspect. I don't know if because everyone has such a devoted, loud fan base. Like I love like Jason Tatum. I love Donovan Mitchell. I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. All of them I don't feel like are underrated though. So if I had to give you one, what's his name? Point guard out of Murray State.
John Morant.
Yeah, John Morant. I love him. And the only reason I can say he's underrated is because it's his rookie year. So that's who I would have to submit my underrated to. My most overrated, and I go to this argument every year, is Russell Westbrook. I just cannot stand that man. I think he's such a it's funny because like his mentality matches exactly what I'm looking like. I love in an NBA player, and I still hate everything about him. Like it's just like, and I've watched videos of him stat padding. I watched Paul George when he was there. Russell Westbrook's like, oh, dude, you're like 1 point away from a triple double, and PG was like, I had no idea. I was like, it's just I don't like the triple double and everything. And I was really a big fan when KD left and he stayed and everything. I think he has an awesome work ethic. And I think he's a super old school player. He just doesn't fit in today's NBA. I love him for the sport, though. I also love hating Joel Embiid. That's my one caveat. I love throwing him in there. Great athlete, one hell of a basketball player. I love hating him, though.
Who's your NBA Finals champion this year?
So this is another one of those really interesting questions on where I don't know where the hell you would start to even dissect this, because as you probably saw just recently, Russell Westbrook has COVID, and that is a huge game changer. Now, do we know how long of a game changer it's going to be? No, it could be just he could be back with the team in a couple of days. I don't know what the NBA's response to like the close to tournament time COVID's going to be, because they might make you wait an extra week even after you've been cleared just to double check. So are players going to get it during the tournament? Possibly. Are there going to be, other circumstances that could cause this to happen? Very possible. And not only that, look at Rondo got hurt last night. That is the Lakers have the biggest advantage going in, and I hate the Lakers. They have the biggest advantage coming into the playoffs, and I think the Clippers have the biggest disadvantage, being that the Lakers are a veteran basketball team. They got LeBron James, they've got Anthony Davis, Rondo. They went out. They should have Avery Bradley in theory, but they're not going to have him either. But they just have a veteran stacked lineup. Dwight Howard as well. And so in theory that this should be like the main team that is able to go the furthest, and vice versa with the Clippers. At the same time, they spent a large portion of the season not playing their main roster together, because you expect the last 2 months of the season you're going to have a chance to really start to gel with the main guys going into playoff time. Well, they don't have that anymore. The one thing I will tell you is they do have the opportunity, given that there's like 4 or 8 play-in games, I think, before the actual tournament starts. But we've never seen anything like this. So if you want to go with upsets this year, I can't tell you that you're exactly wrong on something like this, because this is super cool. Like, I have no idea what's about to happen. Like, we could see, look, the Nets can't even like field a team right now. They're going out and they're getting Jamal Crawford and stuff. So I mean, we could see just anything happen. And I think the Bucks are the team to beat. They're more athletic. I think they're kept in the best shape, but it's so hard to bet against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's just such a good 1-2 punch. I am so excited to see I really want to see the Pelicans. I want to see Zion. I'm such a Zion fan. I really hope he does good.
It's definitely hard to see who could be a champion this year.
Yeah, it is.
I think a couple teams who have a good chance: Lakers, Clippers, Bucks.
Yep.
Raptors.
So yeah, the Raptors. I wrote this down on my phone. The Raptors are my team that I would say from the East, outside of the Bucks, have the best chance. I also really like Miami, but the one thing with Miami is they're insanely young. And so when you're taking away like all the extra games to get these kids ready, like you got to remember these kids a year ago were playing in March Madness tournament fashion for the most part. And now they have 45, 50 games under their belts. So like, it's not a huge amount. And now you're asking them to go make a run in the playoffs. The one thing that they can benefit is Jimmy Butler hasn't destroyed the team yet because they haven't been able to be around each other. I love Jimmy Butler, but he can be a very big distraction. The guy's a winner, though. The Nets, I don't think have a shot in hell. The Nuggets are very interesting just off of the fact that the Joker, Nikola Jokic, he lost, I think, like 30 pounds almost. He lost a ton of weight. Now, as much as I think that's good, because I think it burned them last year, I am concerned that the difference is he's not going to be ready to play with a body like that. He's not going to be able to do the things he's used to doing in terms of just like pushing guys out of the way and just having that body in game shape. And I'm worried that could affect them. And then the Houston Rockets are another team that going into the playoffs, you can easily see making a run at it, just given the fact that they are a 3-point shooting team. And if you hit that stride in the playoffs, it doesn't matter how good your team is. You can't outshoot another team that's shooting that good. But now they don't have that. And they might not have Westbrook. So, and again, with Rondo being gone, that's a big loss to the Lakers. Like, I love Rondo on a veteran basketball team. I think he's like the most valuable point guard outside of someone like Chris Paul. So it's going to be crazy. I'm a big sports gambler too. And so I love throwing parlays in playoff games. This is going to be, if you want to go pick out some upsets, go ahead and shoot your shot, man. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I'll definitely be doing that. And one team we can't do any upsets with is our Detroit Pistons, or my Detroit Pistons. And
I'm a Pistons fan. Fan.
So where is your faith at with them? They got the new GM.
I love the hire. I think that was a really good hire because he came from what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. But they got him out of Oklahoma City. And if there's a single organization that has drafted in terms of the Pistons style, it's Oklahoma City. And so they went out and they got a guy that in theory should be super good. And I love Dwayne Casey. I think he was amazing for them when he was with Toronto. I just thought they had two losers in DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry who couldn't get the job done. And I think they put too much blame on Dwayne Casey. I thought we got a steal for picking him up. So I love that. I think that is super good. Unfortunately, Blake Griffin is terrible. Like,
he's not terrible. He's injured.
Well, yeah. But the contract is what I'm getting at. The contract is terrible, and so it's kind of it's a rough one. I really love
Sekou.
Yes, Dumboya. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have all these names in my head. That's the worst part about when you're not in basketball season is I'm trying to remember all these names. Dumboya, I'm super excited for. He played super well for a couple of games. I know he fell off love the kid. Christian Wood, I'm such a Christian Wood fan. I hated Andre Drummond. That guy sucked. Lack of energy, lack of caring. Everything about him was so boring and mundane. He had no athleticism to stretch the court at all. I love Christian Wood. I love his ethic and his work grind. If we do not keep him past this year, I'll be seriously upset. We have a ton of cap space too. That's another really awesome thing that I think we can do a lot with. I'm just worried that we're going to overpay someone that doesn't need it.
Yeah, Detroit sports is really good at overpaying for people that they don't need. And that's kind of a Tigers, Pistons, Lions thing. Oh,
goodness, yeah. But that's one of the things about being not a small market team, but we're not a destination town either. Is we have to, like Golden Tate, we overpaid for him by a mile. But that's what you have to do if you want to draw in the players you want here. Like Coleman, we had to overpay for him too. And the guy I'm worried that we're going to overpay for is Siakam. No, not Siakam, right? He already got signed.
Yeah, he already got signed. I wouldn't mind Pascal Siakam as a
No, I would not mind him either. Van Vliet was who I was thinking of. Van Vliet. I'm worried we're gonna go sign someone like him, and I like a guy like that. Like I think, but from what I'm hearing, they want to pay him like towards the top end. No way in hell I'm paying a guy like that. He's a fourth or fifth best player. I'm so sick of us paying these guys. Like, we need to develop. That's why we have a chance for a top 5 pick. And as much as I hate it, I want to go get Melo Ball so badly. For the one reason that it's time to bring some star power back to Detroit. And I think bringing him in, you're going to bring the media with you. We're finally going to get some televised games, and we're going to start the rebuild properly. I hate his dad so much. I hated Lonzo for a long time too. I really started to appreciate his game when I just started to. I got to watch him a little bit with the Pelicans. I think he's a really, really raw point guard. He plays the position really well. He can't shoot free throws and he can't shoot threes very much, but he's continuing to progress himself as a better point guard. And his dad is slowly becoming out of his life. Lonzo's distancing himself. Now we're gonna get Melo's dad with Melo, but the thing is, Melo is the best out of the three. And everyone said that since Melo was in high school. All I want to see is a chance for him to play. Oh my goodness. And he went overseas. Do you know how good that is for us? That means if we have a chance to get him, we're not just getting like a kid who's been in the league or went to college for 1 year. We're getting a kid who went overseas to play with men. I love stuff like that, only if they have the talent, which I believe he does.
It's either going to be him or Anthony Edwards for the number one pick.
I would love Anthony Edwards. Oh my goodness, those are you cannot miss if you hit one of those two. But we'll miss. We'll figure it out. We'll somehow lose in the lottery rankings by a mile. That's the only thing that sucked about us not finishing that season was because we didn't get to lose more games. We need to secure that damn spot.
Yeah, it's the coronavirus's reason why we didn't suck enough. We could have sucked way more.
Same thing with the Lions. And I said it when everyone kept telling me, oh my goodness, Lions top 3 pick. Are they going to trade down? I said, we're not going to get the opportunity to trade down. Everyone's going to be so scared of not being able to see Tua in person, get his like workouts in person, interview all these guys in person. Everyone's going to hold their draft pick. And what happened? We don't get the chance to take Okuda at 3 or at like 4 or 5. We take him at 3. I love Okuda. I was so upset we had to take him at 3, but I can't blame management. I bet you they tried to trade down. No one wanted to. And because if you look, everyone got their quarterback right where they wanted. No one moved. And I was like, yep, that SOL, same old Lions. There's a literal pandemic stopping us from winning. I love it.
It was Bob Quinn's best draft, though. You have to admit that.
It was Bob Quinn's best draft by far. And I liked the TJ Hawkinson pick last year, and I liked Jelani Tavi. But only liking TJ Hawkinson because of George Kittle. If he does not turn into a similar type of player, I will destroy that pick. I defended it just because I watched Big Ten football and I watched him I watched Kittle the entire time he was at Iowa. I will be absolutely disgusted if that doesn't work. And I'm so worried that I'm wrong on that. I defended that pick. I bought into it just because I kept hearing, and he works out with Kittle too. And I'm like, okay, so these guys this is gonna work. And I keep trying to convince myself. I'm so worried about it. But they went out, they got DeAndre Swift, Okudah. I love Swift. I think he's going to be the main back of the future for us. And Kerryon can either, turn into that breather back, or they can just get rid of him. I'm so over Kerryon Johnson. I'm so sick of him.
Yeah, the TJ Hawkinson thing was probably the wrong thing to do, and I definitely have a lot of disagreements with it. I get it. I'm
not going to tell you that like you're wrong, because especially we just got rid of Eric Ebron and we just got done bashing him. Oh, Lions take him top 10. Yeah, well we're doing it again basically. So I'm just hoping, because a dominant tight end, you see what they've done with Gronk with the Patriots. You've seen what Ertz has done in Philly. You've seen what Kittle's done with the 49ers. And it's like, if we can just replicate this, we can fix everything. You just need you can't block a tight end in open field if he's a monster. And he looked great in the Arizona game. I just have this sneaking suspicion that that's going to be it.
How long is Patricia the Lions head coach?
The end of the year. That's it. I liked the hire. I liked Jim Caldwell when we hired him. I thought he took us to a very stable position, but I thought it was very important for us. I don't want to be Cincinnati. I don't want to be Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati and sit there for damn near 20 years and not win a single playoff game. Oh, but he won the division. Well, it doesn't mean anything. Well, guess what? The Lions still haven't won the division either. So I'd rather take a drastic next step. So we went out and we got Matt Patricia. And by all accounts, he's super smart. But also, the Fords suck. So by all accounts, these things aren't going to mesh well. And as much as I really hope that I'm wrong, I would love to see Patricia stay. The defense sucks. It's garbage. Devontae Adams literally said, oh, man, dude, you ever play against that Lions defense? That is the easiest they don't mask anything. It's the easiest coverage. We brought him in to literally be a defensive specialist, and the offense is the highlight of the team. My mind is blown. How do you operate like that? It blows my mind. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. And then you talk to people like, oh yeah, the defensive head coach has some say in it too. He should not. The defensive head coach should not have that much of a say, because you're telling me if that's what's going on, then Patricia doesn't actually do anything, because Lord knows he's not running the offense. So he's not running the offense, but I can't blame him on defense. What's he doing? Oh, right. All the former players, Snacks Harrison, Darius Slay, they hate him. And let me tell you something about Darius Slay. I defended Patricia, but then I heard I liked Darius Slay, and then I started to rip on Darius Slay as he was headed out the door. I was seeing overrated. I'm not paying this guy. And what is the next thing I hear? Matt Patricia came out his first year and said Darius Slay's not as good as he thinks. Regardless of if that's true, I get where Patricia's coming from. Let me explain this to you. It makes sense on what he said, because Patricia didn't believe it. He's coming from the Patriot system, where you're not as good as you think you are. And I bet you a million times Patricia learned that from Bill Belichick saying that to Tom Brady. Tom, you need to get off your high horse. You're not as good as you think you are. And I bet you any money that motivated and helped push Brady to be who he is. The difference is Bill Belichick had been there for a long time. Bill Belichick had established a relationship with Tom Brady. You tell me this. Imagine being on a garbage football team for as long as they were, and you bring in this new head coach for like your 90th to just win a freaking playoff game. And the first thing he tells you, the leader of your defense, your best defensive player, you're not as good as you think you are. Doesn't matter where you go. Imagine you get hired at a radio station tomorrow, and you walk in, you tell the morning host as you're getting ready to take over, yeah, your show was fine. It could be a lot better. And you're not saying that to be rude, but you know that you've heard better radio shows. But do you think the guy's going to respect you? No. He doesn't know who the hell are you to walk into the place he's been the last 4 years and tell him his job is not up to your standards. So I get it. It sucks. You want to do the Patriot way? You can't do the Patriot way overnight. You got to get these guys to respect you first. Oh, what'd you do to get them to respect you? You lost to the Jets and Sam Darnold on week 1 after he threw a literal interception for the first play of the game. Oh, my Lord. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Detroit Lions. SOL.
So, Lions go 6-10. Does Patricia stay?
No, he doesn't stay. I mean, that's obvious, too. Unless they start out 0-7 and then they rattle off 6 straight by impressive fashion. No, there's no way in hell he stays. He's already on thin ice. He almost didn't stay this year.
So he makes the playoffs. Are you a Patricia believer?
I have to be. I mean, it's a culture change they're going through. So like if you're showing me a playoff in year 3 after 2 terrible years, including your quarterback being injured, then you're showing me progress. And it was the same thing with Caldwell. I was all on that Caldwell train as long as we were progressing, but it came to a point where it was like, okay, you got to go down and beat Cincinnati in the final week of the season. Couldn't pull it off. Like, okay, well that means we're not progressing anymore. It's time to take the next step. As long as we're building, I can't complain. It's the NFL. It's the hardest sport to win in. And if you're doing anything into getting to the playoffs and you're competing in a playoff game, especially if you're an organization that hasn't won one in this century, then we're going to have to accept that.
So what you got coming up? Any YouTube videos, any new podcasts? What's going on? What's the future looking like?
So I've been really quiet for a long period of time as I'm trying to work on all of this, but I am very close within, I got as I'm looking at you right now on my left side, I have 3 videos I'm working on. As much as I love sports with all my heart, I also love investing, and I'm actually starting a investing channel. I'm sinking $1,500 into this, and I'm super excited for it all to come out. I've worked really hard on this, and I really hope no matter what happens, I have a whole bunch of passions. I really want this to pan out, and I think it's going to help a lot of average people really take that next step into investing. But that's all I can say on it for right now. I don't want to put anything in stone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely something that I'm not going to speak for everyone. I don't know a lot about. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look at it because I don't know much about investing at all.
No, and that's the one thing. I'm not talking about the podcast right now, but if you ever want to message me one-on-one, and anyone that listens to this or just anything in general, I love talking stocks. I talk stocks with random people for fun. It is the easiest thing you will ever do. You cannot lose in the stock market if you follow 4 basic principles. That's all it takes. Please, just trust me. We can do this.
Absolutely. And definitely go check it out. You're going to make people rich, it sounds like.
I'm not asking for money. I don't want a dollar from anyone. I just want you to teach yourself the 4 basic steps that it takes to make yourself rich. And I want everyone in this world to be a millionaire. That's it. It's going to be that easy.
Thank you very much, JT. Very fun podcast we did today.
James, I had a ball, man. I want to do more stuff with you, 100%.
How about we'll do a home and home? You come on my podcast, I come on yours.
Oh yeah, we'll set that up, all right?
Absolutely. Talk about where people can reach you on Twitter, Facebook, and where people can see the YouTube channel and the podcast.
So if you head on over to my YouTube channel at JT Smelik, it's just my first and last name straight up. YouTube is where I do most of my stuff. You can also find me on Apple Podcasts and Podbean at the DST Podcast with JT Smelik.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this. To check out this interview and previous interviews, go to my YouTube channel, James Paxton. And as always, thank you to the guest, Mr. JT Smelik.
Thanks for having me, James.